definitely want to make sure we got this thing recorded here. So, all right, everybody. We got some more people I'm letting in, so I'm gonna hurry up and do my little introduction so I can get off of here. All right. So my name is Tanya Roberts Ford. You guys know me, that follow me and everything. I'm the founder and owner of Life Legacy and Transformation in the insurance industry. Been in the financial industry for over 22 years. I also own Virtual Core Solution, a virtual solution company. Also the owner of Past President Peace, the 3P workbook. But we are not here about me today, okay? We are here because we have two phenomenal women that is going to give you so much information. I'm so excited. I got my pen and paper ready before. Now, one of these people you've already seen before. Her name is Robin Huff. Hello, Robin.
Hello, Miss
Okay.
Tanya.
Yes, and Robin is the proud owner and the brains behind Higher Power with CBD, and also the president of Health Food Academy. She was on, when was that? It just seemed like yesterday.
Yeah, months are
Yeah,
going quick, about a month
yeah,
and a half, maybe 2 months
about
ago.
2 months ago. Okay. And so everybody, she is equipped with the certification from Harvard Medical School in the lifestyle medicine and certification in clinical nutrition and weight management. Now, Robin and I have something in common because we both got into car accidents and we know about living in pain and living with all these issues, and we did not want to take I know I don't and her as well, medication. So looking for another holistic way of doing, taking care of ourselves so we're not in pain so we can function, each day. So
Yeah.
she has some phenomenal information that day, but guess what? We got somebody else today that's going to give y'all some more information. I'm so excited. I just met her and I know this is going to be great. We are talking about Dr. Demetria Bates here, okay? She is a phenomenal. I just like the name, Demetria Bates. That's just strong within itself, right? Okay. Okay. Now, she's the founder of Bates Virtual Health and Consultant, LLC, and an online cannabis consultant practice that provides medical card services for Virginia residents and educational and telehealth consultant. She does as well. She is an Army veteran, LGBTQIA, and cannabis advocate, and a devoted wife, a loving mom, and an enthusiastic healthcare person. I'm just excited. I can't wait to hear all of this. So let me tell you, Dr. Bates, can we see you? Hello. Did I? All right, so I am going to step back, and Miss Robin Huff is going to take over and do the interview. Please, if you have any questions, just put them in the comment part, and I will, let them know at the end what those questions are. So you do it, ladies. Go ahead. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Hi, Dr. Bates. How are
Hello.
you?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing very well. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for
I'm
inviting me.
so excited to have you. Look at us smiling.
Yes.
It's funny, she's reading that bio, and the only thing I could think is maybe I need to be doing more in my life.
No, you looking
Yes,
just fine. Looking just
yes,
fine.
yes. Well, I want to welcome you, and for our listeners, let me tell you what this is about. I'm sure you know some, but I wanted to have a conversation with Dr. Bates. I met her through social media, and I thought this is too good to be true. Um, and I reached out to her and she responded, and I said, we've got to connect. I would love to interview you. I know in this field, this whole entire new field of plant medicine with cannabis, I know that there's a lot of stigma that goes along with it. And there's a lot of people just don't have education. We all know someone that smokes weed, but that was the limit. And for me, as Tanya had mentioned, I had been in a car accident. I had prescriptions written from every doctor I went to. At one time, I had a huge Ziploc bag of prescriptions and samples, and I didn't take them. This is how I got introduced to cannabis. I think there's something both of us have in common, that prior to whatever our choices were, neither one of us was using cannabis at all. I didn't use it, didn't touch it, didn't know anything about it, didn't need to know anything about it. My side, if people don't know me, I'm coming from the side of products. I own Higher Power with CBD, and I have, it's a CBD brand. With Dr. Bates, she's coming from the medical side. So my first question to her is, first of all, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? What made you shift or change or include cannabis in your education? You have a lot of education, but something must have sparked your interest that you said, I need to know this. I'm curious in this. What, and like I said, what's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? So how did you get here?
I would say it started with the pandemic, like now everyone has, anxiety. If they never had anxiety before, they have it now, or even, depression and whatnot. So I saw, just a commonality amongst my clients, my patients, is that they were having, they experienced a lot of pain and whatnot. And so, of course, I'm a provider, so I'm just writing prescriptions, for different controlled medications, and it don't even have to be controlled. It could just be, something like meloxicam, which is like an NSAID, or just telling a lot of clients too, just take Tylenol or just take, ibuprofen, but still knowing that chronically taking those things can still have detrimental effects, side effects, to your other organs. And so I was like, it has to be something better than just prescribing all of this controlled medications. A lot of people getting all the side effects from, constipation or sedation, or, just even older people, having falls from a lot of these medications. So no, I was like, it got to be something better than this.
That's interesting. And the last little part that you just said, older people, I had shared with Dr. Bates earlier today. I have personally been called to some assistant living places, and this I was getting calls from the directors saying, would you come out and tell us about your products and what they can do for our residents. And the last place I went, that director said, I need you to come out here really bad, because she said, doctors are writing such strong prescriptions for our residents, and they're not coming down to breakfast. We go check on them at lunchtime. They're still so out of it, because I don't know if it's sleeping or pain medication or what. And the director herself said, I can't tell them to not use these things or to use something else, but I want you to speak to them so they know there's another option. I just feel they're taking too much medication. So it's interesting that you did mention that. Yeah. Yeah, it's an issue.
No, it definitely is. And, I know we preach about polypharmacy of, everyone being on almost about 20 prescriptions easy. And, like I said, all of those can interact with each other, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's nothing wrong with looking at alternative.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. One thing I can say this personally about me, I don't know, maybe I'm just wired different. I've been like this since a teenager and my early adulthood. Anything that was going on in my body, I just always look for some answers. I always look for the reason why and try to do something about it. To stop eating something, to start eating something, to whatever. And I think what's interesting is people get a lot of education in this country, and they get a lot of media and a lot of news, and you can read things and you can look up things. One thing people should do is they should study themselves. They should study what makes them you know, if you're a person that gets headaches, you should know enough about your body at this point in time to say, I'm getting them every day at 3 o'clock. Is it because I didn't eat all day? Is it because I haven't had water or whatever? What we have been taught to do or trained to do is just run to medication. And so I know sometimes people like to point the finger at the pharmaceutical companies or the doctors, but we have to take responsibility. Our bodies are our bodies, and we want quick fixes. And you know what you're doing and how you're trying to teach and school and educate and give new knowledge to a whole field that for 50 years was villainized. You know, it's a slow process, but it is a process, you know.
Yeah. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said is basically patient activation, you know, it's like how to really get patients or clients involved in or engaged in their own health. You know, it's like, yeah, like you said, they want to depend on the doctor, you know, to say, hey, here's the prescription that you need. But then at the same time, you go complain and say it's not working or you're having some kind of side effect. So what is it going to take for you to get engaged with your own health?
Yeah, because your health is your health. And I've read statistics saying things like 75% of all prescription medicines Americans buy. That's in the world. The average number of prescriptions that Americans are on are 4.5 prescriptions. This has nothing to do with all the Tylenol, Motrin, cold medicine, sinus, whatever that's over the counter. We as a country, we are not healthy. We like to point the finger and show people with their outbreaks in some third world country and this and that's going on, and we feel good about ourselves. But when we compare ourselves to other countries like ourselves, it might be Canada, it might be England, France, Germany, who knows? We're not healthy. And just that number of saying 75% of all prescriptions. I know a lot of prescriptions are probably not necessary because they are for minor things. I'm not against medicine. Thank God we do have, you know, the medical system we do have, but you know, we've taken things too far. We want a pill for everything, and we don't really want to stop doing certain things, you know. Also, I wanted to talk to you, you know, what are you seeing too on an individual basis, you know, as what are some of your, you don't have to go in a lot of examples, but if you can give us any examples of what you've seen, how maybe a patient was turned around, maybe now because they can sleep a little bit better, or you know, things like that. Any examples of in your experience?
Okay, well, I definitely have a list. So, you know, I have even a 20-year-old, you know, starting on some CBD, having issues with focus, and now, you know, they're the author, you know, in their family. They were able to focus enough to where now they're the first author in their family. You know, and that's a 20-year-old. Or do you want, you know, the veteran that recently retired? They tried everything from TENS units, all the opioids you could think of, even having different surgeries, and, you know, just limited mobility, but being able to use, you know, CBD along with THC too. But actually, I started them out on, you know, CBD products first. And now, you know, when it comes to veterans, you also know they have PTSD, you know, anxiety, different things like that, also sleep issues. So this was definitely a more of a complex case. So with them, they now can, you know, have fun, you know, with their kid. They can now take longer walks, you know, and exercise now. They can, you know, even have a better relationship, you know, with their loved one as far as communication is concerned. And now they can also sleep. People with diabetes, having a lot of peripheral neuropathy, or even just, neuropathy in their hands or their feet. I've seen great results even with just topicals. So it's not
Wow.
like you always have to ingest something.
Yeah.
So even topicals, can help with that. Migraines, I've seen, tremendous, decrease in the amount of migraines people have had. Osteoarthritis, people with back problems, back injuries. I mean, you name nausea and vomiting, acid reflux. I mean, the list can definitely go on, but I've treated a lot of, or managed a lot of clients with just different medical conditions.
That's great. I will share with you something, and our audience with something. And I shared this with Dr. Bates. When I got into this field, I didn't jump into it. I had been using CBD for 2 years. It just went legal. They passed a hemp bill in 2018. So what had happened was when hemp was made illegal, they took everything off the market. That was hemp, which is a separate plant than the marijuana plant. They look very similar. CBD comes from the hemp plant, not the marijuana plant. So they're two different plants, but both of them are both cannabis plants. So when they passed the law that they would make it a schedule whatever drug, it's in the same category as opium. I'm laughing like it's the same category of heroin. Okay. It just took out everything. What was interesting that when I didn't have the pleasure, your program that you were blessed to be able to go to get certified with cannabis, there was nothing that existed at the time. So what happened was I was buying every book and everything that I could read and study and read and study. And I don't mind taking my time. So it took me about a year just, going through things and so on. One thing I came across was an article about how the alcohol and tobacco companies and alcohol and tobacco and what was pharmaceutical companies have really been the ones to keep all cannabis illegal for the past 50 plus years, where we thought it was the public that were voting and wanted it or didn't want it. It was really the money that they were pouring into Washington. And if you think about it, just the things you named off a variety of migraines and arthritis and back pain and so on and so forth. Who would lose out the most if people had this education and they were using cannabis products, whether it was THC or CBD? And like you said, if you're not comfortable with taking something by mouth, like us, we have a roll-on, we have bath bombs, we have massage oils. So you don't have to take a gummy or a tincture or whatever. You can see where these other three industries would lose out. People aren't buying as much alcohol. People are not getting as many prescriptions. And people that choose to smoke, whether it's CBD, which you can smoke it, or THC, they would not be buying cigarettes. So where we thought we were given choices and the majority was speaking, the majority really was not speaking. And so that's this bill was just passed. If you wonder how is this all happening now, it was 2018 that the president passed the hemp bill to allow these products to come on the market. One thing I wanted to, and you did go over like success stories. One thing too, have you seen on your end, like side effects, like serious side effects? I know that's always been, I'm laughing because I know the answer. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But anyway, I just pitch it to you and you just knock it out of the park, okay? Because you got to remember, audience, she's coming from both sides. She's coming from the medical side. You know, I don't think I've met anyone like you with a PhD in the medical side of nursing and so on. So that's a lot of education and a lot of knowledge. And
Thank
then
you.
taking the time to get certified in the cannabis. But are you seeing any complaints like, oh, there's all of these side effects now that I'm having? What are you seeing from your end?
So far, I haven't really seen, especially when it comes to, CBD, I haven't seen any side effects. And just to throw out there, some side effects of CBD could be diarrhea. It could cause some sedation, and it may could even, like decrease your appetite. But a lot of that is just more at higher dosing.
Yeah.
But if you're working with me, you would definitely learn how to intentionally use cannabis, as medicine to alleviate any side effects that you may have, or based on your dosing and your frequency. I would definitely help guide you with that.
And that's the importance, audience, too, of if you are one of these people that you doubt, but you're in a space where you're having these health issues, you're not sleep is a big issue, and it's for various reasons. Some of it is because people have pain, some of it is God knows what, drink too much coffee, who knows, it's all over the place. If a person has a lot of anxiety, they would naturally, some of these things go hand in fits. If you've got a lot of anxiety, you naturally don't sleep well. If you have a lot of pain, you naturally don't sleep well. And it's an issue. And your side effects are, I kind of chuckled at the one that said it may decrease appetite because we eat too much anyway. So in this country, so that might not be a bad thing. And you're right. Dr. Bates is right. It's these real high doses, usually with cannabis, and especially with a coach and entering into plant medicine. As it's so different than regular medicine where the doctor writes you out a prescription, or I'll just use Motrin or Tylenol, for instance, and we all get the same instructions. I take 2 pills every 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever. And you can have someone that's a man, 350 pounds, and a teenager that's 115 pounds, and they're taking the same amount of medicine. It's not tweaked for their age, for their sex, for their size. It's a one size kind of fit all. So the great thing about plant medicine and cannabis is just that. Some people have said, well, I took CBD and it didn't do anything. Well, what did you take? And you walk them through that, and you might find out, well, you took this, maybe this will be better. And maybe we increase the dosage. And that's the beauty, because we're all different and not a one size fit all,
No, and I mean, and just piggybacking on what you just said is that, cannabis is biphasic. So what I mean by that is that, at a small dose, it can have this one effect, but at a higher dose, it can have a different effect. And two, when you were talking about people just, taking CBD and saying, oh, well, it didn't work for me. But like you said, what was the dose? What was the frequency? Was it a full spectrum versus a broad spectrum, or was it an isolate? And what I mean by full spectrum, it really means you have the whole plant, like everything is in the plant, even less than 0.3% of THC, along with the CBD, terpenes. It's just more of essential oils of the plant that still has therapeutic benefits. It's more full spectrum. And then if you break it down to broad spectrum, that's just meaning that you don't have the THC in it. It's just basically like a CBD, but you still have everything else. But then an isolate is basically more of just CBD only. If you ever saw those terms written on, CBD bottles or whatnot, you can just kind of determine what it is you would like. However, I definitely would recommend more full spectrum, and that's
Full
just
spectrum.
because of the entourage effect. We
Mhm.
always say 1 + 1 = 3, and I know it's two, but
Mhm.
they just work that well together because you're getting all of the plant medicine.
Yeah, the products that I sell are all full spectrum. I know because as a consumer myself, I mean, my whole body is covered in CBD, whether it's my oils or my body butters and so on. And I'm seeing the benefit even at my age of a lot of products that like we live in chemicals, the lotions and deodorants and makeup and whatnot. And as I was going through like symptoms of perimenopause and things like that, I noticed just even changing some of the body products and stuff, I was not having some of the issues. And it's so much chemicals in this other stuff
Hmm.
that it affects our hormones and everything. One thing that when you mention the definitions between the three, full spectrum, broad spectrum. Full
Hmm.
spectrum, just remember that, it's the full plant. Broad spectrum, they're taking out the 0.3 little bit of THC that comes in the plant. And then the isolate. There's one more I will add as a definition. It is the word hemp. A lot of people have bought something that said hemp and it's not CBD. You got to understand what hemp is. Hemp is, it may come in an oil, it may be in a gummy or whatever. Hemp is not CBD. It's coming from the seeds. And they press it and they make an oil or whatever they make it into. So if you're seeing something like hemp oil or hemp gummies in gas stations and the prices are $15 and Amazon and so that is not CBD. It
Yeah,
is
you
not.
got to
Matter of
be
fact, it's,
careful getting it from the
yeah,
gas station.
yeah, come on. The only thing you should be buying at the gas station. You
It's
should have
gas.
stopped buying hot dogs and Kool-Aid and coffee a long time ago. Now you can stop. I tell people, don't say that to me, please. The only thing you should be buying in the gas station is gas and leave,
Hmm. Right.
Um, but yeah, legally, Amazon does not sell any cannabis products. So if you are finding your gummies on Amazon, this is just a FYI information. It is not CBD. It is not CBD. So usually when I have talked to someone, and I've usually talked when I've gone to events and they go, well, I bought some of that stuff and it didn't do anything. I ask the first question, where did you buy it? And they generally have bought it online. And I tell them, I cannot sell on Amazon. I would love to sell my products on Amazon. It is against the law to sell on Amazon. So what you're looking at on Amazon is hemp, not CBD. And hemp, my CBD comes from hemp, but it's the plant that grows and it's the leaves. What they're doing is they're using the seeds and they're pressing it and they can make it into oils and butters and things like that. One of the things I wanted to add, and this is not funny, I don't know why
Hey,
I laugh.
Robin,
I laugh
Robin,
at
can I
stuff
can I just
sometimes
jump in
that's
for a
not
minute?
funny.
Robin, can I
What was
jump in
that?
for a second? Can I jump in
Mhm.
for a minute?
Yes, sweetie.
And I wanted to ask Dr. Bates a question here. I know this is in the middle, but I just want to ask you a question. All right,
I
so
also too, hold on before you do that. I don't know if it's other people was trying to get in the room too. I just kind of
I'm
had
Oh,
some
just letting you.
messages.
Okay,
oh
because I did
Gosh.
let people in.
do you see
Um,
that, Tanya?
yeah, every time I see admit, I was letting them in.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if they try again, because if I see it, I'm hitting the admit button to get them
Okay.
in here. So yeah, if they try again, then I'll
Okay.
definitely let them in. Okay.
Oh,
All
All
right.
I've
right.
got one that just said tried to get into. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, when I see it at the top, I don't know if something different is going on, but we had like 10 on, so I'm not
Mhm.
quite sure what's going on. I am letting people in.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Bates, I have a question
Yes.
for you. So you do the telehealth as well as the educational for the cannabis consulting. So, and as a nurse practitioner, as a doctor, I know you can write prescriptions and everything. So
Mhm.
if a client comes to you through telemed or your telehealth,
Mhm.
you know, cervical neuropathy from a car accident, they got back pain, injuries, they can't sleep, um, you know, constipation, you know, they have all these issues. Um, how do you know what to diagnose them, what prescriptions to provide to them
Mhm.
to start them off on CBD, or do you start them off on the cannabis? How do you kind of make that determination?
Well, one is just, of course, just trying to figure out what is bothering them the most,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of just prioritizing that. And a lot of that usually is someone's sleep.
Mhm.
And I start with sleep first. Um, and then, of course, yes, you have the pain and everything, but CBD has, it's anti-inflammatory, it's analgesic, so it will help, with the pain. If it's, nerve issues, it's neuroprotectant. If it's because of anxiety or depressant, it's a antidepressant, it's a anti-anxiety, it's antibacterial. It
Mhm.
even has anti-cancer properties.
Mhm.
Um, so even if it's appetite issues, having a lot of nausea, vomiting, people that have issues with that, yes, you can still use CBD. So it's just more of really finding out, you know, like what is your priority? Like what's bothering you the most? But for me, if I can fix their sleep, then everything else kind of starts falling into
Mhm.
place.
Yeah, that's a big one. And also, do you see a difference or in the demographics or who's coming to you? Um, because I know, I've been in the medical field myself. I know as well how, um, you know, it's a racket. It's a racket.
Hmm.
I tell you, the doctor's gonna write the prescriptions. They're gonna go get it filled. The pharmaceutical company, they're gonna get paid, and nobody wants to actually do the hard work as far as like exercise and eating right, to
Mhm.
make sure they're in the best shape they can be in. But do you see one nationality versus another one who follow through with what you're suggesting to do versus the ones that do not?
Well, I would say as far as my clientele, majority are, Caucasian white. I do have, some Black or African American people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I have more like I said, more Caucasians than African Americans for sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then also too older, demographic as far as older population versus younger. It's more older.
Is more older. Okay. So they're more susceptible. The older people. Usually the older ones are more like, oh no, that's you're just getting high and don't know all the other benefits that it has for the body. Like I said, Robin and I've been in a car accident. It's been since 2012. I'm still going through all of these issues, but all that
Hmm.
medication is one thing I did not want to take. So,
Mhm.
her CBD products are amazing, to help with sleep and just the pain. And but the other thing, I guess, is to be in the best shape that you can be,
Mhm.
Hmm.
so you don't get the diabetes and high blood pressure and all that kind of. You don't want that on top of the other stuff you're going through,
Yeah.
because then you will end up wanting to smoke because now you're depressed because you didn't gain
Yeah.
weight. Okay.
Well, I also want to throw out there too, just so people really understand CBD versus THC.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, CBD is basically psychoactive, but it does not get you high. So you don't have to worry about any kind of intoxication or worrying about, oh, I'm getting high. Well, when it comes to THC is psychoactive as well, but is the component of the cannabis plant that
Mhm.
will, give you that euphoria, give you that high. And then too, it's social media, they have painted this picture of, well, if you're going to take THC products, you're going to act this way, or you're going to start seeing things, or, like a lot goes into that, even,
Mhm.
just back to the history of, the prohibition part of cannabis in general, because cannabis was actually legal. It was actually written in the medical books, and doctors were actually using cannabis to as a like anesthesia. They were using that. It was I believe it was a Chinese surgeon actually was the first one that used it for like a major surgery. I can't remember what the surgery was, but yeah, back in the day, between like the
Wow.
1800s up to maybe 1940s or so, is
Yep.
when cannabis was legal. And then after that, when it came to the war on drugs and Harry Anslinger, y'all can definitely look him up. He was the one who just kind of was in now what is known as the FBI. It was known as something else back then, but he was appointed during the Nixon era. And so, like I said, the war on drugs, and then I kind of lost my train of thought, but it's okay. It'll come back. What was it? The war on drugs, the Nixon era.
Oh, and it was racism too.
Yeah, there we go. The racism part. Yes, racism, greed, and politics are the three reasons why cannabis is pretty much illegal now. And it shouldn't be, but it was really Harry Anslinger with the reefer madness and, all those different things ended up coming out. And what happened was, he put it out there. He made the term marijuana. Like marijuana is not even a real term. He made that up to make it associate with, Hispanics, with the Mexicans, that whole immigration,
Wow.
immigrant issue. And then also during that time, you also had, us Black people that was, out there just doing our own thing. But then he also started making comments that, it's this marijuana drug that's going to make our white women go crazy and sleep with the Negroes. Like literally, that was his, his statement. Like he was really
know how to play it,
separating
don't they?
us.
Wow.
So, like once you really get into the history of it, you'll be like, wow, we've really been lied to. They really been playing us when it comes to cannabis, because all these prescriptions, yes, they have their place, but when you have 20 prescriptions, it's time, it would be nice for you to at least not have to take 5 of them,
Yeah.
because I could say now, if I say, hey, do you have pain? You could probably like, yes, I do. And I'm taking Tylenol, I'm taking NSAIDs, I'm using Voltaren gel, I'm using diclofenac, I'm using meloxicam, and then it goes into all the different opioids, hydrocodone, Percocets, and it just keeps going, and it doesn't pretty much stop. Or I'm taking 10 milligrams 3 times a day, and it's just like you have all of that. But then when I say cannabis, just one plant, like that's it. When it comes to alleviating a lot of the side effects, I'm just talking about one plant versus all these other prescriptions that got, you're gonna die, can cause death, can cause, suicide, can cause, I don't know, addiction. Yeah, addiction and dependence, or it can cause, just other nausea, vomiting, hair falling out. I don't know, so many different ailments that you just don't want to pile on to what you're already dealing with.
Yeah, with your liver and kidney
that's
is going on too. Your liver and kidney with that as well, with those medications and everything. So that's awesome. I did not know that the marijuana, where that came from. Did you know that, Robin? That's how it started?
I did know it. And the thing is marijuana was used, or hemp. The hemp plant was the #1 plant that they were growing in the 1617s up into the early 1800s. And they were using it for paper and material. A lot of the clothing and cloth wasn't cotton, because cotton was this other thing that was a whole long process. You could only grow it in certain places, only in hot places and so on. But hemp, you could grow anywhere. And so it didn't have a short season. So the Native Americans had been using it, Mexican Americans had been using it. The sad thing about it is it's like Dr. Bates said, they come up with these things, and these I don't know these things, let's just put it that way. You got to remember something too. I wasn't going to say this, but I will say this. This is a capitalist country. They say it's a democracy, but it's a capitalist country. Capitalists need to make money, want to make money. Capitalists, the biggest enemy to capitalists is competition. They do not like competition. And when you look at plant medicine, if you could grow something on your own, I don't mean a whole backyard of a whole lot of whatever, but a few small plants or whatever, look at what would be out of business. And the interesting thing is when Dr. Bates named off may increase appetite, and she told you that's in high dose, may cause some diarrhea, that's in high dose. What I came up with from the World Health Organization was dry mouth and may cause drowsiness. This is for CBD. Well, a lot of people buy my CBD to go to sleep. Dry mouth, drink some water. We don't drink enough water anyway. But this is what I found that was interesting. When it came to pain pills, the range of side effects went from ulcers to liver damage, to kidney damage, to addiction, and just to name a few. When it comes to steroids, and I'm going to mention steroids because steroids is a common drug, a common prescription for a lot of stuff, whether it's pain, arthritis, or asthma, and not to get into all the autoimmune diseases like lupus and so on. That's a common drug, a prescription that's written. Well, what do steroids do? Steroids gain weight. Mood changes. Mood changes is a nice way of saying driving you crazy. I was on steroids probably 30 years ago. I had pneumonia, got out the hospital. He gave me 5 milligrams. That was the smallest he could get. I can remember being up so late at night. My husband was getting up from work, from the bed to go to work. I was still awake and my head was spinning. Weight gain, sleep problems, elevated blood sugar, elevated blood pressure, and thinning bones, osteoporosis. And so when we get to cannabis and CBD, more specifically from me, it was dry mouth and maybe some diarrhea in high doses. Now, if you look up the definition, if you just look at steroids by itself, all I see in here are 3rd and 4th other problems that a person would have. And I can see how a person can be on one drug and somewhere along the line have a prescription for something else. I mean, if a steroid raises your blood pressure, that is high blood pressure. If a steroid raises your blood sugar, now we're into diabetes. If a steroid causes thinning bones, now we're into arthritis. So you need a prescription for this and a prescription for that and so on. If you go to pain pills prescription and you're talking liver and kidney damage, well, guess what? How many people and what is the rise of numbers of people on kidney dialysis machines? Not to mention addiction.
I can even speak from that, for myself, is that, I was prescribed a lot of naproxen, kind of like Aleve, for my own female reproductive issues that I had going on. And, it was just basically chronic NSAID use that caused me to have some, kidney injury. And I was like, I can't take this stuff, so I need to find something else so I can give my kidneys a rest. And really, starting out with CBD, help with that. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I could just really personally attest to that.
And that's a good testimony, because knowing these side effects, and I mean, we've all seen the news, they talk like it's an auctioneer rattling off all the side effects, but knowing these side effects, I can see how someone could be on 3 or 4 major prescriptions, because like Tanya said, being in a car accident, now you're on some kind of pain medicine. You've got, I had fibromyalgia, the shooting pains down my leg, and then I had hip problems and so on. I just happened to not take any of this stuff, but at the same time, the level of pain pills, even before you get to the level of addiction and being on it, yeah, they do cause constipation. Yeah, it will affect your liver and your kidneys. And we have a rise in this country, especially amongst African Americans with colon cancer.
Mm,
And so, we're talking,
suppositories,
yeah, we're
infused
talking plants.
suppositories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a lot. It's a lot. And Tanya, that was good what you said too, because you can start off with one problem. And of course, sleep is important. And if you're not sleeping, you can have anxiety, depression. It weakens your immune
Whole
system.
lot of issues
So
getting sleep
yeah,
for your body and
yeah,
that you have. Absolutely, you lady. That I agree with both of you on everything and learning some stuff. I'm still on the marijuana high heat. Wow, I'm like, really? I really want to hear more about that.
yeah.
And
So
Harry Anslinger, you can definitely look him up. The
yeah,
whole Nixon era, it was a thing. I mean, even with myself being in the DARE program, all that stuff stemmed from that foolishness. And now
mhm,
here I am thinking it's wrong. My parents, they're telling me, it's wrong. Being in healthcare, it's wrong. Being in the military, it's always been
wrong.
wrong. And I'm like, it got to be something to this.
Mhm.
And it didn't really dawn on me until, one of my close friends was like, well, how are you working in the industry and you never even smoked, you never did anything with it? And I was like, okay. I mean, that's okay, that she said that, but I was like, well, I know more of the science behind it. I actually know
Yeah,
why it works, getting into the endocannabinoid system, because that's a whole nother topic that a lot of people don't um, well, no one truly knows about it because we're not even taught in schools about it. It's not even in my medical books. I
that's
looked
crazy.
and they're not in there, but we have an endocannabinoid system that scientists found back in the early, 1990s, late 80s. And with this endocannabinoid system is that it regulates our appetite, our mood, our
Mm,
pain, so many different things. And it's like, well, why didn't we know about this?
mhm,
Our bodies actually make molecules that mimic THC.
Mhm.
mhm.
Like
Wow.
it gives us that bliss. It helps the endocannabinoid system really, its goal is to put our bodies back in a balance,
In
to
balance.
neutralize,
Mhm.
our bodies. And so you bump your toe today or you have that headache, our body is truly designed to kind of heal itself.
So it's
But what happens is, our bodies may not produce enough of those molecules to try to correct or help that issue. So now that's why we do look to the cannabis plant, which has phytocannabinoids, the CBD, the THC, and there's definitely 100 plus, more
other.
of other
Mhm.
cannabinoids. We can talk about that another day, but we can supplement with that. We can look to just looking at cannabis as a supplementation. No, I'm not saying it's going to cure everything that you have, but just something that is more natural, less side effects that could potentially help you with your sleep, your mood, your appetite, and just so much more, your focus, your nerve pains, I don't know, like I say, your nausea, your vomiting, people who have cancer, even just
Yeah,
chemo-induced symptoms that they get from having chemotherapy, you know, they have synthetic cannabinoids, that the FDA and whatnot has approved that doctors can prescribe, like Mironol, or if you're having seizures, there's Epidiolex,
yeah,
is another like medication, but it's a synthetic form. Why use a synthetic form when most likely whole plant medicine is going to be more beneficial to you than anything?
yeah.
Wow. Absolutely. Okay.
One thing that makes me nervous about the future, these pharmaceutical companies don't set out on nothing, okay? And just like when you mentioned the synthetic forms, that last company that you just mentioned, I think they're out of England or something like that. It's by prescription only. And
Mhm.
so I know I have seen videos of this stuff that they're just waiting. They're just waiting in the wings. And where we have put all this work in and we're trying to educate and teach and so on, wait just a few years, they're going to hit the market because they always look for the next best thing. I mean, they rode high in the 90s, writing all these prescriptions for antibiotics. Then they rode high in the 2000s, writing all these prescriptions for opioids. They made a lot of money, make a lot of money off of
It's all
diabetes and so on. And
heart attacks, drugs.
now
They make a lot
we're
of money
coming
on all
to,
of it.
yeah,
Absolutely do.
we're coming to an end where they're making money off of this weight loss drug. They have repackaged the diabetes, and I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying this is a money. You're dealing with companies, and they look at the money of it. So I know they're getting ready to step in this market, and when the federal government makes marijuana, CBD can be shipped and so on, but when the federal government makes marijuana legal, that's when you'll see this huge shift, and it will be every Pfizer, Abbott, you name it, Warner Lambert, that will jump into this field, and they may call it something else, but it will be what it is.
Right.
Well, all right, ladies, it's 7:50. Okay.
Okay,
So I
sweetie.
have a question. Do you have another question for her? Because I have a question for both of you ladies that we can kind of close out on. And then if anybody have questions, they can, I already said they could put them in the chat here. Did
I
you
don't
have
have
another
a question, but I wanted to make a statement. It's interesting when you asked you
Okay,
the
can
question.
I ask you my question before you make your statement?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So first of all, the field that you both are in, it's so needed, the education, because people have these these ideas when you talk about CBD, or when you talk about cannabis, they, like you said, they put that with, oh, that's just getting high, you're on drugs, all this type of stuff, and not really being educated on all the benefits that it has. So what are both of you doing to get that education out to people? Because I think the more educated people will be, that is going to help with them not having to take 20, 25, 18, 15 prescriptions, and that this is another way that they can alleviate some of their pain and live a functional life. So what are you doing to get that information out? Because education is key. I know you're Dr. Bates, you have your company that does that you educate on. How do you get your people to come to you, your clients to come to you to educate them?
Basically through referrals, but also too, shout out to Jabria Craft. I see she's on here tonight. I've actually collaborated with her,
Okay.
and we actually, she hosts with Crafted Cannabis. She hosts workshops, so like Cannabis 101 workshops, terpenes, if you want to learn more about the different cannabinoids besides just CBD, THC. And then I will actually just be more of an addition to that, to bring value, from that medical standpoint. But then I also offer a medical card clinic, in the end, after the workshop, so people can still get the education, and then they can make more of an informed decision if they should get a card, or not. And then too, we just launched a podcast called Can Aquarius.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm talking
Can
about.
Aquarius podcast. So yes, the message is definitely is going to get out there. And then too, I write articles for the Effective Cannabis newsletter. And I know I've sent a couple to Robin and, some other people, and they have, signed up and subscribed. And so they follow me.
You on social media? Are you on social media?
Yes,
Okay.
I am on social media.
Go ahead and name your social media sites you're on.
Okay. On Facebook, it's Bates Virtual Health.CannaCoach.
Okay.
On Instagram, it's Cannaquarius, Queerious, Cannaquarius NP. So NP for
I'm
nurse
glad
practitioner.
you spelled that out, because we would have been on here for 30 minutes. We trying to figure out how to spell and the Alexa and Siri's, they'd be like, what?
Well, it's just play on words for, those who are kind of curious, but curious because I am,
Okay.
in the LGBT community. So kind of
Okay.
curious
Kind of cute. Okay.
podcast.
That's pretty cool. That's a way to
Yeah, well, we puff with pride.
okay.
Yes. Not see Jabria.
Right. So one other thing that I wanted to ask you, you're in Virginia only. Do you ever plan on expanding out to other
Oh, yeah.
countries? I mean, other states and cities for that medical card, especially here in Georgia. I need one here. I need one.
Wow.
I would love to, but based on some of the laws, they only allow physicians to do it. And for me in Virginia, I'm actually an independent nurse practitioner, so I don't have to have a collaborating physician. So I make my
Okay.
own choices. But if I need to, refer patients out, I can to, other doctors and other specialists. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Miss Robin Huff, the owner of Higher Power with CBD, what is your plan to go? You've been on here before. And we talk quite often as far as you already had the business for 4 years, and you have your following and everything, and it's like you gave so much information when you came on. So, what are you doing right now to make sure you get more clients to come buy your products? So, products are awesome, by the way. I use them.
Thank
I'm
you.
telling you, especially that hair and body oil. I love that. My skin gets so dry, like the what is it? The Sahara Desert. Is that right? I'm like,
And I live in the desert.
but the gummy bears help me sleep. And so it's like, and everything is vegan, with the more natural stuff that it's made out of. So, but what are you doing right now to make sure that you get the education out to more clients?
Yeah, education is important. When I read the stats of the number one reason people do not buy, and this was just for CBD, number one was they didn't know what it was, how to use it, education. So education is important. Doing more of these, I have to do, and I know that. I do
You
events
say that,
and
Dr. Bates, but I've been on her for I don't know how long to get a reel and trying to show her how to do that. But do we have one? No, we
yeah,
do not. We don't have a
no,
reel.
no, yeah.
Why don't we have one? Huh? We went over it. We went over
I
several
don't
times.
know. I don't know. But the education is important, and this is a new field, this is a new product. We know it comes with a stigma. It actually, and it was interesting what she said when you asked the question, who are the majority of the people that come to her and so on. I was waiting for the answer. And I shared with her even the other day, when I started this business, I didn't say for African American women, but I tried to speak that language just by some of the pictures I was showing, because I know we have so many health issues, especially African American women, from the range of fibroids and things like that. But we are the least likely to buy. And that was in the national statistic too, and it's because of the the stigma. So for us to knock down the door to have our people, our women, our men, to see this as not your cousin Pookie and Daquan sitting. I hope nobody their name Daquan
And you
and
just named
Pookie.
Pookie,
Everybody know a
Daquan.
Pookie.
There's some
You
Pookies out
notice
there,
no, we use
Daquan,
the word Pookie, but don't
and some.
nobody know a
Go ahead and
Pookie.
say Junebug. I know you want to say
Okay,
Junebug.
yeah, okay. We all got a cousin and a friend and a nephew or whatever, and that is the only thing we know. When we say medicine, we are, I'll use me for an example. I'm not the best sleeper, but I'm not the worst. And when I feel myself getting run down, I will take one of the gummies at night. They sit right on the side of my bed. I don't have to take it every night. So instead of me going to bed at 1 o'clock and waking up at 7:15, I go to bed at 1 o'clock because that's when I'm taking it. And I wake up at 8:30. I needed that rest. I still use the roll-on from time to time for my back because I did have a back injury and so on. I do not use Tylenol and Motrin. There's no Tylenol and Motrin in this house. So like we had stated before, if you do not feel comfortable with taking something by mouth, then there are other options. Education is important. So on my end, I will promise you that I will do all that I can do to educate. We do have an ebook coming out, and it's CBD one-on-one, and
Awesome.
kind of going over all the things that we've talked about and kind of breaking it down in some categories. So this is not the end. So if we can bribe Dr. Bates to come back.
Yes, yes. That would
No,
be
you don't have to.
awesome.
You don't have to grab me to come and talk about cannabis. I can talk about it all
So
day.
I could do that
Yeah,
all day long.
yeah.
Now let me tell you, because what you do, your industry, how it affects what I do. So I'm a life insurance agent. And when I'm asking on that application, they have that specifically on there. Do you use recreational drugs or do you use marijuana? The insurance companies seem to have not caught up with the states that are legal, that you can do this, and people are still getting denied because it's like they're
Wow.
doing,
Mm,
and not looking at it as a holistic, a different way somewhere for their pain and those type of things. So it hasn't caught up with that. And I don't think that's fair at all. I think that that definitely needs to be, the insurance companies need to, hey, everybody don't want to take all this medication. And
Mhm.
so, you can list the medications you're taking, but when you say, oh yeah, it's not recreational, you can put on there, they have a medical card for it. They're in a legal state to do this, and they're using this for their pain and or whatever it is, and we
mhm.
still have some problems with that. We still have problems
Wow.
with it.
Hey, Tanya,
Yeah.
one of the issues too is it's almost like the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing. You can come to work drunk, but you better not have smoked something last night. You can be addicted to all kinds of other stuff. And I mean, we are a country addicted to everything, okay? Everything. And so we're talking medicine, and you're right, these things will catch up. And maybe from your side, I don't know, that's going to take some time too, but it's a slow move. And even when Dr. Bates mentioned the endocannabinoid system, what's interesting about that system is they just discovered it recently. But the sad thing about it is doctors are not being trained in it. So we'd like to tell you,
Yeah.
go ask your doctor, and the doctor. So you see how the right hand and the left hand is not, you got the insurance company over here that looks at it the way it was whenever. You got doctors, you can't go ask them a darn thing. They did not study this. They do not know this. It would be at least more honest if they said, you know what, Miss Tanya, I just don't know. But they
But
won't say, I just
Yeah.
don't know.
actually, some do that, because the doctors that I
Good.
was seeing, because I said I don't want to be on all this medication, and
Mm-hmm.
so I started doing the CBD, and so it was like 3 months. My doctor didn't write me any pain medication. I think it's
Mhm.
tramadol or something I was taking, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm not taking this medication anymore. So when I
Mm-hmm.
went to the doctor, and he said, so hey, what are you doing? You look great, you feel great. What's going on? And I said, doing the CBD, the brownie. I told him it was a brownie. And he said, I said, he said, well, we haven't caught up here in Georgia. We're not, real educated on it. And so they don't really want to talk about it. And I said, I understand that. I said, but I'm not taking any more of your crack. You can keep that. I don't want that. I want,
Mm.
this is what I'm doing. He said, you seem to be doing well with it. I said, but I do not want this in my chart. I don't want you to put this in
Oh.
my chart.
Yeah,
He
no, because
said,
that is a thing. That is a
yes,
thing. You'll get slapped with cannabis use disorder or yeah,
exactly. And I
you
said, I
would.
don't want to put it in my chart. And he said, well, where do you get the brownies from? I'm like, come on, Brent, come on, bro. I don't snitch. What you talking about? Where I get you get them from? I'm like, I said, really? He said, well, how many do you have left? You have enough left? I'm like, I'm good. He said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, and I'm not gonna put it in your chart. You can't close the thing. Didn't even write
That's
anything else
something.
about it, because
Mm.
I said and that was like 6 years ago. I have not taken any more of the pain medication, because they just dwell it out. Like, what do you want? You
Mm.
can have the tramadol, the oxycontin, the whatever it is. They want to give it to you, and it's like people are in there, and that's where addiction come from. I'm like, you can keep all of that. I'm
Yeah.
over here. I'm good.
Yeah.
So,
I do need to make a quick disclaimer that everything that we talked about tonight is just for educational purposes only. I don't think that was said, but I'm gonna still say it.
for educational purpose.
Wait a second.
Yes, I put that. Thank you, Dr.
Wait a
Bates. Put that.
second.
Yeah.
Wait, Tanya, you'll see us. We'll be, you know what? You know what's sad? You know
Oh
what's
gosh.
sad? This is
Thank you,
sad.
Dr. Bates. That's
You
good.
ever
Good
you
cover.
ever see one of those TV shows where the guy's got a hood on and he's talking and the voice has been changed and he done did some crazy crime down in Medellin or something like that? We could treat it the same way to a certain extent. I mean, this thing with the medical, medicine was changed in the early 1900s, 1940s, something like that.
Mhm.
And, you got these rich people that came along. Who is it? Not Vanderbilt, but I can't think of the guy's name, billionaire. He started pouring money into the colleges and he wanted to,
Somewhat the Vanderbilts,
you know,
they end up losing their fortune. So
pay
that's a
for
whole other
these
thing.
medical schools and stuff like that. So they pushed everything else out
Mhm.
and said that was woo-woo and it was this and this. So this is why we have the standardized form of whatever. Things are changing because people are sick and people are dying. They're going to change slow, but you hear the word integrative medicine. You never heard doctors use that word. Just like you said that Dr. Bates has gotten extra training. I went to Harvard. I was shocked even when I saw that Harvard had something called lifestyle medicine. And even for them to say, we're getting sicker and we're dying. And what we're doing is not working. That is huge for Harvard to say that. And the program I went through, they're working now within the next year or so to make it a requirement for all their medical students, nurses, doctors, whatever. But it is a slow process. But for people listening to this, your health is your health. Learn your body, learn what triggers, you, and try to work with yourself to do things, try things, and so on. Because as I look at it as an African American person, we've been through so much and we've come so far and far for generation after generation after generation. Our parents, maybe our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and so on, did not have all this knowledge, but they did not have all these illnesses either.
Yeah,
We've
this
got to
is
do
very,
better.
very true.
We've got to
It's
do
a
better
lot.
because our
Yeah.
destiny is our health is destroying our destiny. We've got too many people that are passing away, PhDs, scientists, doctors, lawyers, great people with great knowledge, and they're leaving this earth at 52 and 55 and 57 from heart attacks. And
Younger
things
than
like
that. I just had a 44-year-old male die, had a heart attack and dropped dead. One of my clients, and it's like it is. It's a lot
real.
out here. It's a lot of stuff out here. So ladies, all right, it is 10 after 12. I'm 10 after 8 p.m. and you two are amazing. I hope you want to come back and speak so that
5 o'clock.
5. Okay, rub it in. You got daylight still there. She does that to me. Why does she do that? Do that.
Just love
And
doing
so
it.
that you
Y'all so
because
cute.
it's like it's dark out. I'm thinking, I gotta go run to the here and it's dark. So but there's so much education needed. And there's so many people out there that are looking for alternative things to help with their sleep, their pain, the things that they're going through. And so what you both are doing is just phenomenal, and just keep getting that information out there because education is key. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff on the insurance side that I have to look at, but when I'm talking to people, but I get both sides of it. And so, Dr. Bates, do we have to bribe you to come back one time and speak with us again? Because
Please.
I want to hear about that man. I'm talking about how you gonna call it marijuana. You know that ain't what it is. Educational purpose, so I can't say reefer.
No, I mean, all of these things were made up,
These are made up names, exactly.
It don't make any sense.
See,
It's to
Dr.
make it sound bad, but also, to make it also, link with that particular culture.
Mhm.
And that's not even the
Wow.
case at all.
Didn't know that at all. That's
Yeah.
that's very
You
interesting.
didn't know marijuana was a side effect that the men would go grab all the white women. I didn't read that in the
Mhm.
side effects, but stop.
Yeah,
Wow.
You know when I've been
Come
here
on
too long, when
now.
I start
Okay.
yeah,
That's all it
stupid.
took. That's all
yeah.
it took. Okay.
Because of the,
All right.
you know, the jazz music, you know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, the jazz, you know, Black people we had our own thing, was having a good time, but you know, the white woman would, according to Harry Anslinger, you know, they would go over there and listen to that crazy music.
And look at them. Look at them
And,
having fun.
yeah, and smoke
And what
that reefer mat, you know, like what?
You
what
say this,
Dr.
and
Bates is
now, so
saying
now
too, I
they're
think if you went on YouTube, there's a video that you can
Hmm.
watch and you go, this is crazy. Yeah.
wow. So why don't you again let everybody know what your sites to follow you, and then Robin, you follow with what sites to follow you on, and
Mhm.
so that they can get this down, because I definitely think you guys go to their sites, buy the products, listen to them, because as a person who you know use holistic approaches, it has helped me so much. I was at a point where I had gained 70 pounds. I couldn't, really get around and do the things. You're talking about a person being totally healthy and being able to run around Stone Mountain, if anybody knows how that is down here, at 5 miles, to getting rear-ended by a guy and totally changing my health, my life,
Mhm.
from just that,
Mhm.
because my head hit the steering wheel so hard. I
Mm.
have cervical neuropathy, I have back issues, I have all these other things. And you're talking about, so whether you don't want to go into depression and not moving, I
Mm.
know because I was active before, I need to be active. But in order to
Mm.
do this, I'm in so much pain right now, I can't do anything.
It hurts to move.
So to be able to find an alternative route, because all the pain medication, you don't want that, liver, kidney, all that kind of stuff. This is so important, very
Mhm.
important, and that we need this education for both of you. So you guys, you phenomenal women. I'm sorry. We say guys all the time. Why do we do that? It can be a room full of women and one guy, and it's like, okay, you guys, let's go. It's like it's
And
like
I
what?
go, hey girl, regardless of your age.
Yeah. So, but just go ahead and let them know again what your sites are, where they can find you at, and then I don't see anybody that has any questions, but we have a few people here. But just go ahead and mention that again, and
Okay.
then Dr. Bates will get you back, and Robin will get you back as well, hopefully. And Robin's going to do a reel before we get her back on here. Okay, she gonna do
Okay,
one.
that's the goal. All right, Robin, get the reel out. But at the same time, you all can find me at batesvirtualhealth.com if you're interested in learning more about, you know, cannabis, need some education, or just maybe a little guidance. Also, too, I do offer like a 8-week reframing cannabis program. So we will
Okay.
definitely dive in more on learning more about your endocannabinoid tone. So how are you sleeping, and how's your appetite, and learning more of how to utilize cannabis intentionally for medicine for your, you know, overall wellness and well-being. Instagram, I'm Can Aquarius NP. And of course, like I said, hopefully on 4/20 is when the intro will drop
It's
for the
already
Can
done.
Aquarius
Let's go.
podcast.
All
Yes.
right.
So
It's
yeah,
there. All
you can
right.
definitely
All
find me.
right. So I'm absolutely looking forward to your podcast. Going to be listening to that, because I'm just really intrigued now with some stuff.
Mhm.
You see? All right, Miss Robin, what is
Miss
your
Robin,
Miss Robin?
I am at Higher Power with
Mhm.
CBD, our website. And you can see the list of our products. We did put the products in some categories, so like sleep or pain or body. So that kind of helps you. And there's some information there to read about the products. All the products are vegan. All the products have been third-party tested, meaning they have to be sent out, and we do have lab reports too, sent out to make sure that they are what they say they are. It is CBD, it's not THC, and there are no other fillers and chemicals in there. We do have some blogs on the website that kind of goes into sleep and things like that. So check out the website. We're on Instagram also, but definitely, if you have any questions, you can just message me through Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I can answer your questions. And I have to turn this around back to Dr. Bates and personally thank her for doing this, because she didn't have to do this. And I know she's busy and busy, and you guys have really got a big bonus to have someone with this kind of background that comes in to say, look, you know, this is what this is the real deal, this is the future. And we don't want to leave you behind. We don't want to leave you behind in your 4.5 prescriptions. We want to take you with us in good health into the future, because we got things to do. And, you know, this whole, you know, health is wealth. Well, you know, health is wealth.
That's that, is
So,
your wealth,
Oh, thank
time,
you.
and your wealth. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you,
thank
Dr.
y'all.
Bates. Absolutely.
Thank y'all for having me.
And so we look forward to having you again. Okay, I won't say. I'm glad you did this disclaimer, because I would have got to it after I hit off. Nobody would have heard of it. Like, I did say it. It's on here. I really did. Was so dope. But thank you so much. And Robin, thank you so much. Because like I said, you have been talking about Dr. Bates for so long, and she is just as dynamic as you said, and so are you, Robin. So I don't see any questions here. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here. It is 8:15. Thank you so much for the information. I am looking forward to hearing more from both of you. I truly am. And so just have a wonderful time there. Just have a great evening. Everybody seems to be clocking off here. Let's see if everybody, okay, bye. Bye. If you guys will stay on for just a moment. Let's see here, Dr. Bates and Robin. If we can, let me see if I can just make sure everybody else is off. We still have Miss Alicia on here. We still have, let's see, Alicia. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Now let me stop being live, because we don't want to do that. Let's see here. Stop live screen. Okay, we have stopped. All right, ladies, how did you feel? Sorry, I had to jump in there.
Still say
like
recording at the top.
Oh, I'm still recording the. Okay, let me stop the recording. It's not going live anymore. As far as it's not live. I stopped that. The recording.